like to give you a short 15-minute video to help you warm up, whether you're at the gym or at the Crag. I feel like doing this short 15-minute sequence helps me jumpstart my climbing. The older I get, the more I need to warm up, the longer it takes too. So without further ado, let's get into it. All you'll need is a flat place. If you're at the cliff, you can find a nice flat rock or somewhere off to the side of the main action. Some flat dirt or staging area. At the gym, obviously, the floor is flat. So if you have a mat, great. If not, just work with what you have. But you come down to the ground into tabletop pose. So in this pose, I have my hands anchored directly under my shoulders. Elbows are facing forward. I rotate them forward so the eyes of my elbows face forward. My knees are directly under my hips. Just ground down through your hands, ground down through the tops of your feet. Keep your back nice and straight. Activate through your core and just breathe. This pose helps you get into your body first thing. Maybe you've been sitting at your desk or driving to the cliff or at the gym. You're feeling a little stiff, a little rickety. This just lets you know you're back in your body. So stay here and breathe just for a little while, 4 or 5 breaths. There's 3 of them. I'm not sure what they're singing about. They just like to sing all day. Okay, so from tabletop, holding the same position, we'll do some cat-cows. On cow pose, you drop your belly, lift your head, lift your gaze, look up, arch your back, and really feel the stretch through the front of your body. If your abs are sore, maybe you did core the day before or something like that. This will help iron out those wrinkles. Push in your hands, exhale into cat, arch your back, think of like the black cat on Halloween. Push. Exhale, cat. Keep grounding down through those hands and down through the feet. So stay active through your body so that you fire up your core, shoulders, forearms, feet. Limbering up as well. We're going to do about 5 rotations through the poses. Able to go a little deeper too. How you're going to come into sunbird. So in sunbird, you'll use tabletop as your foundation. Ground down through your left shin, foot, and knee. Lift your right arm. Ground down through your right shin, arm, and knee. Lift your right arm and lift your left leg. So this is opposite arm and leg. And we'll just do a static hold here. Really stay nice and long. Activate through your core to find length through your limbs. Try to find as much length as you can through the tips of these right fingers and through the tips of your left toes. Breathe. We'll take that on the other side. So, right leg's lifted, left arm is forward, ground down through that left leg and foot, ground down through that right hand, push the floor away from you, keep your shoulders out of your ears, stay active through your core, reach and find length. That. We'll take a variation on sunbird now that's a little more active, now that we're a little more warmed up. So in tabletop, return to sunbird, lift your right arm forward and left leg back, and then you're going to bring your right elbow to your left knee, and we'll do that 3 times. So exhale, inhale, extend. Return to tabletop. We'll take that on the left side now. Right leg back, left arm forward. Left elbow, right knee. Find a little bit of a twist. Return to the mat. Alright, now that we're a little more warmed up, let's just take a standard downward facing dog to get some hip and leg activation. So ground down through your palms, inner triad, anchored to the floor. So thumb is against the ground, index fingers facing forward, forming sort of a, bang bang fingers for lack of a better word. On both hands, arms are shoulder width apart. Push back. Push the floor away. Keep your elbows rotating forward. Let gravity take your head. I know I'm looking up because I'm looking at the camera, but let gravity take your head and just push back into your hips. And walk your dog back and forth, which means you're alternating between dropping first one heel and then the other toward the mat. Variations in downward dog. One thing I like to do is come up on my toes. This activates your feet. Obviously you're going to need your big toes for rock climbing because you're standing and standing and standing. And then with your toes up, activating through the calves, push back and open your hips. Stay active through the toes. You can also bend your legs deeply. This lets you get your hips higher. I'm not very flexible. It's hard for me to get my heels to the floor anyway, but with a deep bend in my knees, I can really push back and really get a lot of activation through my shoulder girdle. Next, push back. And then for a grand finale, my shirt's coming forward, we'll take a little bit of a twist. Reach this right arm, grab the back of the left leg, look under your left armpit, twist and breathe. Other side, left arm is grabbing the back of the right leg, look under your right armpit. We're facing dog. Then we'll drop our knees to the mat. From here, we'll return our hands to the mat. Step back into plank pose. So, again, hands are shoulder width apart. Elbows are rotated forward. Feet are pushing against the ground. Find length from the top of your head all the way through the back of your heels. You just want to think that you're a nice long plank. Activate through your core. Don't let yourself sag. Don't push up too hard. Don't stink bugs. But stay nice and long and flat and active across your body. Think about yourself being all in one long plane. We'll hold this for a couple breaths. And downward dog, just to fire up the core a little more. So from plank, push back into dog. Plank. Exhale back into dog, that's 2. Staying on the toes. Push back into dog. Facing dog. Drop your knees to the mat. You come to kneeling, keep your knees right under your hips. Now we're going to take a little lunge and do a little bit of hip and hamstring opening. So from here, keeping this left leg bent at 90 degrees, step your right leg forward, also a 90-degree bend. Take your hands and then push them against your knees. Don't let your shoulders drive up into your ears. Keep them down your back. And just find that sort of cross-body tension between your front leg, your back leg, and your hands. Pushing and staying active through your core to connect all the dots. Return to kneeling. Step this left leg forward. Push off the left knee with both hands. Breathe. We're going to take low lunge on the right side. Now we're going to add some twists just to fire up the side body and the obliques a little bit more. So right leg's forward. Return to that original position, pushing off your knee. Lift your hands into the air, reaching skyward. Shoulders are down the back. Then rotate, keeping your hips facing forward. Rotate your left arm forward, right arm back. And then find as much length as you can between the outstretched fingers of both hands. I realize my arms probably don't look perfectly straight. That's just sort of how my arms are built after too many years of rock climbing. A few breaths here. Sky. Bring your knee back. Step that left knee forward, reaching skyward, active through the core. Right arm's back. Right arm's forward, left arm's back. Step back to kneeling, and then we'll take one more twist on each side. So, same thing. Right leg's forward, bring your hands skyward, bring them to heart center, and then take your left elbow and lock it against the outside of your right knee. Twist there for a few breaths, keeping your hips oriented forward. This one for me really helps to open up the backs of my shoulders, a spot that often gets sore during climbing. Step back to kneeling. Try not to fall on your face like I almost just did. Left leg's forward. Arms to the sky. Bring them to heart center. And then twist. Right arm outside of left knee. Opening here. Poses, and then you should be ready for climbing. This next one, Dandasana, helps open my hamstrings a lot. I have very stiff hamstrings. I'm not a very flexible guy. I'm often out for long walks with my dog on pavement, which makes my hamstrings sore and tight. So essentially, you're sitting in an L. Legs are grounded to the floor. Stay active through your legs. Toes are pointing skyward. Stay active through your feet. Have a nice erect posture in your back. Don't just slump like that. This isn't like PE class where you're kind of like, coach asks you to touch your toes and you kind of flop forward. This is an active pose, so grounding down through the buttocks, backs of the legs, feet. Lift your arms skyward and then just exhale and fold forward as far as you can while maintaining some length in your back. For me, it's not very far. I might bring my hands down to the backs of my calves to help pull myself forward, but as you can see, I don't get pulled forward very far with my legs. I'm still trying to maintain some length. The goal here is just to open the hamstrings, find a little bit of forward flexion. Final pose is a hip opener, butterfly pose. Just bring your feet to touch in front of you. Balls of the feet are touching, heels are touching, toes are touching. I'm not thrilled about touching my toes. They need to be exfoliated and cleaned and lotioned. They've been in climbing shoes too much this winter. Anyway, bring your heels as close to your groin as you can. Use your elbows to drive down into your inner thighs. Push your legs and knees down into the floor. And you should find a lot of stretch and a lot of hip opening through the insides of your legs. Resistance of your hands against your feet to open the backs of your shoulders, open up your lats, and find some release there. 15-minute warm-up to help you get ready for climbing, whether you're at the crag or the gym. Thank you for following along. Namaste.